Also took the opportunity, since a couple had asked, to put down a few things I knew we'd be working on this current year, so you can start figuring out how we're going to address these issues. One is the North Aurora Street rebuild. That's going to be very similar to what we did on Goldsboro Street, also on Marlboro Avenue, and the recent small block area of Aurora Street. We're looking at going from North Street out to Aurora Park Drive, which will take in most of North Aurora Street. The fire department building is now over 50 years old, and there's windows and doors that have got to be replaced in that building. The Harrison Street drainage out here, if you looked a couple weeks ago, we had that violent storm. The sidewalks are underwater, so there's still some work that's got to be done there. And the engineers are looking at that pretty heavily. Northeastern Park lights. We got the Hill project that's not moving as fast as we originally had hoped for, but it is moving forward, and we will have something tangible there in a very short period of time. We're looking at putting up an additional salt storage building on the south end of town, out near Route 50, and that includes the property to do that with. Got it, as I mentioned a few weeks ago to the council. We've got some options there. We will be looking at securing that property. The RTC park, we've got to get an entrance off of 50 into that park area. That's will enable us to get the dog park built, plus some other amenities out there. Affordable housing, at the end of this month, we settled on the one that we had built on Chapel Road, and now we begin looking for property to start the second of those houses. Police body cameras, watershed improvement plans. At the next meeting, I think we have Alan Gerard coming for a work session, and you should hear more about that. This one was told to me last week. The Easton Fire Department needs new SCBA equipment, and if you don't know what SCBA is, that's self-contained body apparatus. And the fire department can't operate without self-contained air. That project alone will be somewhere in the neighborhood of $400,000. It's a pretty big ticket item. Try to have a bridge rebuild, and the engineers are working heavily on that. The RT Rails to Trails project, the next upgrade from Aurora Street to Route 33, we're looking at that. You also have a upgrade on Mecklenburg Extension for the Rails to Trails. The Easton Point Park will be starting sometime this coming year. Route 50 North drainage, this is out by the Comfort Inn and Holiday Inn Express, where they backed up during heavy rainstorms, and we'll be looking at that. And of course, additional properties for affordable housing. So those are just a few items that we have that I'll get circulated to you. And if you have anything to add to them, please feel free to do so. But it looks like we've had a busy year, and we're going to have another one coming up.
So we have ordinance number 675, which is eligible for a vote tonight. It was introduced at our December 7th meeting, and we've had a public hearing. This is an ordinance of the town of Easton, Maryland, adopting a new official town of Easton Historic District boundaries map. This is really to exclude 130 and 142 North Harrison Street from the historic district, which they are. Both those parcels are now in it. Any questions or comments from the council before?
I think the process by which this has been done, with its thorough vetting by both the Historic District Commission and the vetting and the Planning Commission, has been the appropriate one. This has received appropriate scrutiny now by three different public bodies, those two appointed boards, and now this council itself. We've received some public commentary urging a bit of caution about what might go in there and design guidelines for how that development might be guided. But we do have to remember too that the town really has upgraded its design codes throughout town and not impacting the historic district alone. And so I think that we've got some safeguards ensuring that we're going to see appropriate development on this parcel without needing to keep it in the historic district. And we don't really have a rationale to keep it in the historic district, since we don't have historic properties or historic structures on these parcels in question. So I'm fully supportive of.
Ordinance number 675 has been moved for passage and seconded. Mrs. Ruff, would you call the roll?
Mr. Silverstein?
Aye.
Mr. Lasher?
Aye.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Mrs. Pope?
Yes.
President Ford?
Yes, passes unanimously.
The only other thing I really wanted to cover tonight is to express on behalf of the staff our the deepest condolences to the family of Mr. Butler, who served as council member, president of the council, and ultimately as mayor of the town of Easton. And I'm sure I speak on behalf of all of us in passing on this condolences. When I first met him, I was a Little League player. He was a coach. So it was long and deep that he was involved in that activity.
Gene was probably in my, I hate to say, almost 30 years in town government, was probably the strongest advocate for the youth in Easton and Talbot County that I've ever run into, in public or private. Northeastern Park, if there was one individual that made that happen, it was a number of people, but if you can point to one person that really made it happen, it was Gene Butler.
Just want to echo the mayor's, Mr. Carge's remarks about the passing of former Mayor Butler, and he had a great impact on this community. And I know that Mr. Silverstein as well said that, as with Mr. Silverstein, he accommodated me in my entry into public service, and for that I'm certainly grateful.